Mr. Isaac, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Namibia Connects.
Good morning. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you in Namibia.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you, actually.
Fine. Thank you.
Very well. How concerning is cybersecurity in the SADC region and Africa at large? If you can just perhaps start there.
Looking at the global trends at the moment, we have a challenge. You find that when you look at the statistics, globally, there are high rises of cybersecurity. And we have got the challenge where we have got less human resource who are capable to provide the defense. And this means that we need to have to impart the skills in various personnel who in government institutions to be well vested and equipped for the security. You know, at every moment, at any moment when we talk of cybersecurity, these are bad people, bad guys who are trying to manipulate the system and take over and perhaps put the government at ransom. And the government spends a lot of money for that. And it's our duty as citizens in the SADC region that we have to equip the members of staff, especially those in IT sector, need to take up an upper hand of the role, of which most of the time some of the incidences which can be prevented. There are things which we can be well prepared, so it's important to share the skills and knowledge in that area.
Very well. Now you are hosting the hands-on cybersecurity workshop, like you mentioned, for not only for Namibia but for Africa at large as well. What does the workshop entail, and how does it really, how is it expected to equip the participants?
The first objectives which we have is that the participants should have the ability and the skills to identify the vulnerabilities before an attack comes in. And after identifying those, because the organizations, if you are at the organization place like this place, the people of IT in charge should be able to assess that all the systems are okay, updates are there. And in situation where attack happens, how they should respond, how they should respond to the attack. Because if they do not respond, they will make the government, it's not everyone who is IT, but it will make the government or institutions paralyzed. So they have got a high task to be always ahead of the hackers or attackers. Then again is to prevent the future occurrences of such incidences, so the incidency responses, and help above all to help formulate the policies of the government. It's important the government should have the policies on how to address this and how it would be provide the direction. And these are the crop of people who should be ahead and help the nations, not only Namibia, but all other states, they have to be ahead.
Absolutely. Would you say that Africa is perhaps more vulnerable to cybersecurity than other parts of the world?
Globally, everyone is vulnerable, but it's how much your resources you have invested into it. So when you look at times there are vulnerabilities or attacks which happen, because we lack of the skills and knowledge, we cannot identify. But it will take maybe someone who is in Europe to identify that your country has been hacked. So that sensitization, that's why we are beginning from this end so that we go forward.
Very well. Now you've had this event, of course, kickstart yesterday, and it's of course expected to end on the 9th. Talk to us about what has been learned so far, and what are the responses, or perhaps the questions raised by the participants who are attending the cybersecurity workshop.
So far, we started yesterday. We looked at the global trends, and we looked at the vulnerabilities in an organization. And one interesting issue which is coming up is looking at how do you detect your system whether it's vulnerable, especially in a situation where you use outdated software. People have not taken importance, because at this point in time, you cannot use certain software. For example, Windows XP, you can't use because, and we like cracked things. Please, or viewers there, cracked versions, cracked software. It's really dangerous because all your data you are exposing, and we don't expect governments to use cracked versions of things. You need to have original and have your trained men, because what we noticed is that sometimes if the capacity building of skills, sometimes we go to universities, mostly in universities you have theories which are not applicable to defense. You may have degrees and so forth, but people are incapable to deliver. So the hands-on, it's 99% hands-on, and for those who are not there, they have really missed, but you still have got days they can join.
Yeah.
So this only doesn't only concentrate on the when we talk of the government, we're talking of the security wings, how to be ahead. In most of the countries, you have got the CCTVs. How do you detect that your CCTV are not vulnerable? Because all those are vulnerable. Any electronic device is vulnerable. So the hackers can manipulate and even change the course and disturb everything. And because not everyone, our bosses, they are in the offices, policymakers. So we need men on the ground. And the men need to be ahead of that.
Absolutely. I like that you mentioned that, university students who are, of course, majoring in this type of field should perhaps also be restructured, perhaps find a different way that actually works for the country which they are operating in terms of cybersecurity. Is that also your mission then of this workshop to, of course, make sure that perhaps IT students or students that are in that field also attend this workshop to also, bring up, bring to the forth what they, of course, they are studying? Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, including like the education policymakers.
Yes.
We need now to move in a situation whereby the IT for the learners starts from the primary level, secondary level, until tertiary, because when you look most in African countries, the education has been most of memorization. But the digital era, things are coming, you are being forced to, you need to have competencies. So like in the universities, those who are making the curriculum, they would attend this and make some of the topics which need to be in the curriculum. Because it will be wastage of resources of the government to spend many years to educate one person at the end, but to go and deliver in the field, he is incapable of doing that. So it is better to restructure. If the governments put the policies to restructure the education system, whereby even in early stage, every child has got the basic know-how of defending. So that is the first layer of defense, and it's the first layer of defense of the economy of the states. So as SADC countries, they need to take up an upper hand in the restructuring and investing in the universities especially.
Absolutely.
And actually, especially the skills where if they adopt IT to become a compulsory, and the skills imparted into them. Because this time around, if we are not investing in the IT sector, definitely we feel the crunch of the economy. For our economy to go up, we need to move ahead. Almost everything is digitalized. And hackers, they take opportunity of that. So you go to the bank, there is IT. You go to the transport sector, there is IT. And the hackers, they just look at lucrative business for them. And every time we'll be crying. So it's better to also move ahead of the hackers.
Absolutely. I'm sure by now you would know about an incident that also happened in Namibia not too long ago, where a telecommunications company also experienced cyber attack. Now, African countries are at various stages of implementing digital transformation initiatives. At what stage do you believe Namibia is as a country?
It is difficult to measure the assessment because much research needs to be done.
That's right.
The only thing which I can comment to prevent such issues is for us key people in IT. There are small issues which we usually ignore, but those small issues, they can lead to the collapse of the country. So like this afternoon, we'll have a session on vulnerabilities of the organizations and what do IT personnel supposed to do to take the measures. For example, you employ me as an IT personnel, I'll be reporting for work to ensure the computer is moving, but there are other things, the green chairs, which we leave them as a gray area. And like this morning, there's a very interesting session where you detect whether your system is down. So the hackers, they are there 24/7. Every moment the hackers, they are testing to check which area is weak and can hold you at ransom. So in such areas like the banks, the telecoms, the IT personnel need to be mainly on merit and mainly on hands-on practical.
Which means then more investment in resources.
In resources. So if they are there, they need to equip their team at that level. So like most things which we ignore are major causes of the vulnerabilities.
Right.
And they need to respond well in advance. So if we have got a strong IT personnel in preventing cyber attacks, then we are home and dry.
Well, let's talk about the overall workshop as well, which is currently underway. Perhaps your overall expectations from this workshop and how you expect, perhaps your expected outcome come the 9th of May.
So far, this is day 2. The outcome, I think we're at 95%.
95%.
Yeah, because I've seen every participant is keen to know why, and there are various tools you use for detections.
Yeah.
So it's not only whereby you go at the workplace, you ensure that the computer is working or any electronic device is working, but there is more of the skills, and those who are not there they have really missed something which is great. It's a rare opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we have got the facilitators. I'm one of the facilitators. We have got facilitators from Indian cybersecurity company. We have got the firms in USA and ethical hackers. So all the global wording skills, they are in this country, and it's quite marvelous.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's too premature to say, but perhaps are there any lessons already thus far from the workshop, perhaps to perhaps make it a bit bigger or better for the next edition?
The next edition, so far, lessons we are learning as we are going at every step.
Yep.
We are learning at every step. One of the lessons, there's need of collaboration, constant investment, and there are other sectors, when they hear cybersecurity, this is my lesson learned, they ignore it. We don't need to ignore now. We need to invest in it, because these bad guys, we call them bad guys, the hackers, once they strike you, they can hold the whole system at ransom. We need to be ahead. So one of the things is there's a big gap which we need to invest in human resource. Yeah. In human resource and collaboration. That is, so like the people we are in today will form a network, and will continue after the workshop. If they have got a challenge, they'll be able to give us a call and provide the assistance to them.
Very well.